Okay, so yesterday I was watching the Witcher series. I watched it the first episode only, and also thinking that they actually nailed the main character, Geralt of Rivia, because he actually looks like and acts like the character from the main video game, from The Witcher 3, which is the game that most people know about. The Witcher 2, a lot of people play The Witcher 2, but not really a lot. Not as many people as the people who actually played The Witcher 3, because the Witcher 3 was just a bigger production, so we just got more people. I played The Witcher 2 after playing The Witcher 3, so I think a lot of people actually played The Witcher 2 went through their roots, right? First, they played The Witcher 3, which it was the game that introduced them to the road, and then they played The Witcher 2. But even though they actually nailed the main character, they didn't nail really the other characters because some of them, like Ciri, doesn't. I mean, they don't really look like. I mean, Ciri doesn't really look like Ciri. Uh, they could have done a better job with the armor for Nilfgaardians. The production really looks good overall because you see some combat, you see that they really thought about what they were doing, but there are some things that stick out like a sore thumb. Like for example, how Geralt shows too much emotion. I mean, it's one of the things that they actually didn't nail from the main series because Geralt's not really supposed to show too much emotion. I know they didn't really strip him completely of any emotion, but it does show more emotion than it should in the series, at least in the first episode. Whereas in the main game, The Witcher 3 and 2 is more like more like a robot. When it shows emotion, it's not really something like that is really like part of it. I mean, it's like something that's actually trying to contain it, that actually let it out because he knows that emotions can actually be detrimental to his job. So, but it's pretty cool. It's like a prequel to The Witcher 3 in a way. I mean, you can introduce so many characters. There are so many cool characters there, and I mean, the whole series is out already. So I wonder where it's going to lead. And I'm going to watch an episode every day at least. I'm going to finish soon, and then I'm going to come back here and give my final thoughts on the Witcher series. But so far, yeah, it's good enough. Let's hope that it being produced by Netflix doesn't mean that they're going to include any PC things, because we all know that including PC things in series like The Witcher just asking for the series to fail. So, but yeah, like I said, I really like Geralt. I really like the character, the first woman there, Murphy, I believe that was her name. She was well developed, but she was of course a character just for one episode. She's not going to show up again, I believe. But yeah, so far so good. I think it was a good introduction. It should have garnered like a lot of new fans, and just like what we hear here. I mean, just like what this post here on Reddit shows, that a lot of people went back to play The Witcher 3 again. If they launched a new DLC for The Witcher 3, a new expansion like the first two ones, I would go back and play the whole game because the whole game was just really good. And I played it twice, so and I finished everything twice. So I spent like over 200 hours, like each time I played that game. So it was really well worth it. It's like, I mean, it's one of those games that are really rare. So they show up like every 5 years or so, every generation. And Cyberpunk 2077 has such a hype around it. So let's hope that it lives up to it. But anyway, those are my thoughts on the first episode of the Witcher series, Netflix series.